Good afternoon, everybody. It's kind of nice to stand here in the middle of the courtroom. You know, all week or the last 3 weeks, they shoved me at the end of the table because I'm the lefty in the group. It's nice to be able to look at you all and say thank you. Truly thank you. Each and every one of you, I want to express our sincere gratitude from the prosecution team, myself, Deputy District Attorney Leslie Basie, Assistant District Attorney Zach Woodshow. There's no one in this courtroom that does not realize the sacrifice that you've made serving your community in this very important task. You've put your lives on hold. I don't even want to hear from your bosses. Thank you. You've watched these proceedings and you've noticed as we sit at our prosecution table, we don't have a client at our table. But rest assured, we do represent someone. We represent the people of the state of Wisconsin. It's an entity. I can't bring it to the courtroom. People enact laws. People want to feel safe. People have representatives in Madison or Washington, D.C. that set standards, rules that we all are expected to live by. And when those rules are violated, prosecutors step in and enforce the law. Darrell Brooks does not represent anybody. He does not have a client. Darrell Brooks is the client. Darrell Brooks is the defendant. The state of Wisconsin is the plaintiff. It's really that simple. And it's consistent with any other criminal case you've ever heard about at any other time in any other jurisdiction. It runs the same, no matter what state or federal. I'm going to ask you for your guilty vote at the end of my comments. It's up to you. I can't tell you to do anything, except I'm going to say one thing to you that I wholeheartedly ask you to obey.
Attorney Upper, I'm sorry for the interruption. Your objection, sir?
Mischaracterization of who I am and the way it was said. I feel like it was talking down.
All right, your objection's noted. It's overruled. The state may continue.
You must not consider anything about Darrell Brooks other than his conduct in downtown Waukesha on the evening of November 21, 2021. Nothing he's done before that, nothing he's done since that. When you go back to that deliberation room, please obey Judge Doro. Confine your comments to his conduct on November 21 of 21. Is he guilty of the 76 counts that he's been charged with? That and solely that should be your topic of discussion. So, what are the charges against Darrell Brooks? Thank you for your patience in listening to the jury instructions. They must be read for each and every count. But sadly, they can be summarized very quickly like this as far as the actual counts. Counts 1 through 6 are first-degree intentional homicide while armed with a dangerous weapon. Counts 7 through 67, first-degree recklessly endangering safety while armed with a dangerous weapon. Counts 68 through 74, hit and run causing death. Counts 75 and 76, bail jumping, and count 77, battery.
Whoa.
Mr. Brooks, what is your objection?
I have 76 charges, not 77. It's a mischaracterization of the charges.
That is correct. It is sustained. It should be count 68 through 73, I believe, and then 74 through 75, and then 76.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do apologize for my math skills. 68 through 73, 74 and 75 are bail jumping, and 76 is battery. I apologize for that misstatement. We're going to talk about counts 1 through 67 in detail. Counts 68 through 73, hit and run causing death, in my opinion, are easily summarized as this. He never stopped. Never. Bail jumping, he was out on bail for 2 files in Milwaukee County, facing felony charges there. He was ordered to not commit any further crimes. If you believe he was involved in any of the conduct charging counts 1 through 67, you should find him guilty of bail jumping. Battery, that relates to the split lip and black eye suffered by Erica Peterson. We told the story kind of backwards. We started with the battery for background. First degree intentional homicide. You've seen this in our opening statement. You've heard it from Judge Darrell. Did Darrell Brooks cause the death of the victim, a victim? Did he act with intent to kill, meaning either the mental purpose to take the life of another or was aware that his conduct was practically certain to cause the death of another human being? Count 1, Ginny Sorensen. Count 2, Lee Owen. Count 3, Tamara Durand.
Oh, I got.
Count 4, Jane Kulik.
Thank
Count 5, Bill Hospital. Count 6, Jackson Sparks. Those are the individuals who lost their lives because of the conduct of Darrell Brooks. From there we go to reckless endangering safety. What is that? In this case, it means that through his reckless driving, he endangered the safety of other people. And he did so demonstrating utter disregard for human life. Now, behind me is State's Exhibit 15. It's also on the PowerPoint. If you choose, you may have this chart with you in the deliberation room to help you walk through each of these counts if you find it helpful. It's up to you. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it. But it will be available for you if you ask for it. And it'll take you, as we did in our presentation of the case, right down Main Street and address all the counts that were involved, all the counts that were charged. To prove reckless endangering safety, and I'm just going to go back one slide, nowhere do you see there that we have to prove any degree of injury to anyone. Never once did Judge Darrell instruct you that somebody has to be physically injured. Now, Detective Casey told you that was the standard we used in deciding of all these hundreds of thousands of people who is included in these charges. And a decision was made by the prosecution team to include people who were physically injured to be efficient in our prosecution. And so everybody up and down the street, I would argue, had their safety endangered that day. I didn't charge 5,000 counts. We selected 61 counts of people that we can identify by name in Exhibit 15 that were injured by the conduct of Mr. Brooks. Those are the people in green. People in red are the fatalities. And we presented this case to you in much the same fashion that is presented here on Exhibit 15 as to how the injuries occurred going down that street. So we are absolutely held to our burden of proof, and the elements for each offense that Judge Doro instructed you on, but we are not required to prove any injury to anybody. The question is, was their safety endangered by his reckless conduct, his reckless driving? Now, some of the groups, it's pretty easy. They walked in a formation, and you can get a photograph or a diagram, and you can kind of see pretty easily who was located where, right? And you can think back to the videos that you've seen for each of these groups and remember, and you'll see them again, the path of the vehicle as it went through each of these groups. This is South Band, of course. All of these names that are being displayed on the PowerPoint Exhibit 21 are on Exhibit 15 in green for Waukesha South Band. Pretty much the whole left half of the formation was endangered by the safety of Darrell Brooks driving up the side of that band. The Extreme Dance Team. It's a little difficult to read, but again, this chart was marked as an exhibit. It's exhibit number 33. If you want it, you can have it in the jury room. The names on this chart will match the names for the Extreme Dance Team on State's Exhibit 15. All of the girls that were struck and injured as they marched with the Extreme Dance Team, plus some people on the back that were handing out candy or serving in support roles as the unit made its way down the street. The Dancing Grannies, State's Exhibit 54, the formation that they marched in, who was located where, and your recollection of how that SUV zigzagged through that group. And you can just see the names and match it up to who was injured and killed versus who wasn't. Now, one of the big things in this case has always been, why did this happen? What was he thinking? Why did he do this? Again, those are things I don't necessarily have to prove to you. His intent, I do have to prove, and I submit without any doubt there's overwhelming evidence that this was an intentional act by Darrell Brooks and an act of utter disregard for human life. I say that for these reasons, folks. Number one, first and foremost, just stop driving. That's it. It's really that simple. Not one person had to be hurt that day if he would have just stopped driving.
Excuse me, Attorney Alford, your objection, sir?
You specifically, I'm sorry, can I be heard?
Your objection, sir?
Oh, I didn't know if I was on mute or not.
You're not?
You specifically said in your jury instructions that intent cannot be, you can't look into someone's mind, I think is what it says, to find intent. So how could that be characterized as someone knowing for sure intent or not knowing for sure intent?
You're making an argument. You'll have an opportunity to do that later. Your objection's noted. It's overruled. The state may continue.